Hello, fellow Empaths, Seers, and Psychonauts. If you'd like to come on in, have a little scry for a while, pull up a seat. We'll utilize the scrolls here. We'll add on tarot and oracle. And as well, we have the spirit box here kicking for any audio additions that may inspire or irritate. Receive or release freely, of course. As always, thank you so much for being my muse, for holding space for me to share my insights, and allowing me to be a guest in your aura. All right. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's see what we got going on for a little divination dose today. Thank you so much to all those who like, share, subscribe, and to those who donate and warm my haunted heart. Thank you. All right. Ooh, okay. So right off the hop, I'm seeing a referee.
Holy water.
I'm seeing a referee. There's something. Okay. If you want to take a moment with me to close the eyes, cleanse the palette of perception, releasing the race and the rush, activating the abstract mind and ancient awareness to perceive and receive symbolic support. Okay, so referee. I'm also seeing a strong presence or power that is on the earthly plane, that is being projected onto the earthly plane. I see trees skipping rope, which is interesting. Trees skipping rope. This feels like an ancient wisdom. Okay. Some sort of forest. Yeah, some sort of forest is beginning to speak. And it's like that ancient understanding. And when I say ancient, it just could simply be from a different timeline that's being awoken here. So it's not because it's older, it's better, or it knows better. It's simply from another timeline, like say when the tree was born or seeded, and now it's 100 years later or 200 years later.
Deep.
This something is being awoken in it, and it's coming through like a skipping, like jump roping, like skipping. But there's this it's like somebody tried to saw down this tree. Saw down the tree. It didn't work. It didn't work. So this energy is rising up. It's like inner earth energy. You know, a lot of the times we can think of like, aliens and angels and all that kind of good stuff. This feels like inner earth. Something's being awoken. Okay. It's definitely earth vibes. Sorrow and harmony are coming through.
Play with me.
This feels like that. I don't know if like a harmony rising up, like this. I'm seeing like a band. Like if a parade and they would have a marching band. Now, when I say I see the marching band as well, I'm also seeing as if
31.
Armies were coming through, and you could hear like this ba-boom, 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 and you could feel it, the rumblings of these marching. Now, whether it's a marching band or it's a marching band signifying some sort of stance of a power. Regenerator and confusion. Yeah, I'm right up confused. So I'll bring these up for you if you want to see, sense, and feel for yourself. Something's being regenerated in the tree. It's symbolically coming through as a tree. But I think it's, for me, like the trees are an embodiment of the Akashic, right? They're all around for us to breathe in of this information. Growing leaves, letting things, all that kind of good stuff. But it's like there's two paths of this power reverb.
Where are you?
And so it's causing me confusion. I'm confused. That's where I am. Where are you? Between the sorrow and harmony. It almost feels like, if I may, in this awakening of some sort of ancient energy, for some it brings upon sorrow, and for others it'll bring about harmony. But I'm not going to lie, it's weird. It doesn't feel like the way we thought it would come up. Or it doesn't make sense in the modern world because it's coming up from a different time. And it's not conforming to the time. It's like if somebody was time traveling, but they weren't aware of it necessarily. Or that's not right. Maybe like a concussion, or maybe they were frozen in time, because it's showing me like Austin Powers, and he's like $1 million, and they're like, that's not a lot of money now, and he's like, oh, okay. So it's like that, like you're something's being awoken in the modern time, and it's like maybe the lore, the teachings, or the concepts, the thoughts of it thought it would look like this or would go this way, like it adapted to the modern times, but it's not, it doesn't feel like it is. And this, okay, so it's like it works its way up through the, okay, it's like there's, maybe you can feel this on an individual to interconnected level, because I understand in the divination doses, given your sensitivities, the scope is micro, macro, and it fluctuates. There's a fog between the heart and the solar plexus. There's a veil. That's the veil I'm hearing. That's what it makes me feel like. To the throat, I see it as, like I said, to the solar plexus in the heart. Is there another one at the throat? That's the confusion. I'm speaking the confusion as something's being regenerated. Something about Aquarius is coming through too. Somebody's been nurturing this tree. Trees, again, they're just a symbol of something, this ancient knowing and understanding. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or ugly. It could be something very deep-seated, or hidden esoterically, to it could be a very common knowing. I'm not really sure what it is. It's been nurtured. Oh, it's been nurtured on both sides of the coin. That's why there's sorrow and harmony. It's weird, because on one hand I feel like what would, conjure up and bring upon sorrow
31.
makes others happy, and what brings upon harmony brings sorrow or confusion even to the other parties. This feels like, what is this? What is this? Empaths, Seers, and Psychonauts. What's going on? The referee in the center, Taurus, holding space. 3 and 9 are coming through. 3 and 9. No, not the deck. Okay, sounds good. Release. 7, 8, 9 again. So maybe you've been feeling this as a sensitive and as a seer. There's something in the collective. Maybe you're noticing it more at home first, and that it's kind of like in the hula hoop of safety, right? It's not a matter of having to be physically everywhere to help and support. It's the hula hoop of your beingness, and taking,
why did you come?
Doing things within your environment, within your home, within your abode, within your office, within whatever job you do, and something about integrity in doing it. If you're unhappy in some sort of condition or container that's bringing you sorrow, or maybe you're confused about, where do I go? What do I do with this? There seems to be something in the center of the harmony is almost in nurturing what I do want, instead of focusing on the sorrow and the confusion. I can admit that I'm confused. I don't know what to do. Let's just say, as an example, right? I don't know what my next step is. I don't know where to go. And it's like, okay, I don't know. Well, that's okay. That's in this moment very clear. So I'm going to nurture and water what I do want, which is possibly clarity. So what might I do for clarity? And then I bring that into myself. Like, I have to dig deep to actually admit that and speak that, to say, oh, I feel clear when I have a salt bath. I feel clear when I go for a walk. Usually things come to me, or they clear up when I just do something else completely, or I do art, or I go fix my car, or I tinker on my motorcycle. That's when things come to me, when ideas come to me. So do that. Do that. Because it's almost like on one hand, if I stay in the confusion, it leads me to sorrow. And if I see the confusion, I feel the confusion just the same, and I don't get choked up, then I can wander into harmony. But it all stems from a state of confusion. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like I release something. This is how I'm feeling in this moment. I release something like the referee. I release it, I call it, and I focus on what I do want. Even if that's not clear, because I'm going to come back to the clarity point of I don't know. And then if I wander out onto like a planetary space, it's like, oh, what can I do to help, these people in sorrow, or this place in sorrow, this town in sorrow? And I feel like I get confused. Oh, so, maybe society says this, or we should do this, we should do that. And it's like, oh, I'm confused. I don't know what the right thing to do is to help. And I feel like the same thing kind of comes into play. I don't know. Focus on what I want. Clarity, direction. Clarity and direction. Synthesis. And I want to like synthesize the heart and the solar plexus to reach up to my, okay, this goes beyond the throat, because now I'm speaking it, even if it's internally. I hope this is making sense to somebody. I don't know the context that it's in, so I'm really trying to float around to find that inspiration. So then I begin to synthesize by speaking it, and then I start to do things. Maybe I start to do things that clears that up.
Brian.
Synthesis, integrity, and passion. Okay, and it becomes to flood in. Did we speak about integrity early on? I feel like we may have, or maybe that was just in my imagination, and that's okay too. Devil's play. Yeah, see, there's something else going on. But that's always going to be, for free will to exist, for the freedom to exist, it needs to be in the totality. So knowing that there may always be a polarity or a confusion of why would, if, choose an example that feels good to you, that you would understand. But in order for your choice to exist, somebody else's choice exists. And that's free will at play. Loyalty, determination, dog. Okay, I want to bring it home unto myself with the 10 of Cups here, because as it comes through synthesis, integrity, and the 10 of Cups,
show yourself.
I feel like, show yourself. It's like aggressive. But that's kind of the underlying vibes of this. There's something aggressive I'm sensing as aggressive from my perspective. And I'm like, okay, I see you, I feel you. I'm confused because I don't really want to kind of invest in it. So I need to take a moment, and I need to cleanse, I need to release, and I need to focus on what I do want and realign in my integrity, not in so much an avoidance of sorrow, because to somebody else, this, whatever this may be, doesn't bring sorrow, but I feel like it will for me. So I'm going to realign into my integrity and say, hold on a minute. What brings me happiness? What ignites my passion? The passion takes me out of confusion. Even if it's mundane, I might not be passionate about doing the dishes or going for a walk, but it's like the fuel for my passion to get brighter and brighter and brighter, and inevitably clear something up. And it regenerates. I want to come back into this wisdom, witch, magic, curse. And that's what kind of transmutes it. So if there's another power or another energy, I'm not going to, power to power, that you feel that is around individually, whether it's a boss, a partner, yourself, to, globally, to planetary wide. It's like magic and a curse. They're quasi the same things, are interchangeable. Being an empath can be a blessing or a curse. Seer, to see things doesn't mean it's always shiny and sparkly. It means that you're seeing certain things that are uncomfortable to see. And that takes a
Don't come
certain
in.
strength. Same with the Psychonauts, right? Slowness and protection. Speed is not a thing. Relocation home. Oh, and underneath that is, thank you, scales. So, fellow empaths, seers, and psychonauts, like, share, subscribe if I didn't say so already. Thank you so much. It's almost as if the speed here is working at a pace like a tree growing over 100, 200, 300 years, even 10 years. And it takes time. It takes time. There's no rushing of the process because it could create more confusion and sorrow, especially if this is coming home to oneself and maybe you've been doing something, working on something, and it's like slow and steady, slow and steady. Well, of course, maybe even a feeling or a sensation of sorrow could be because I'm very impatient, or I feel like my patience is wearing thin. Okay. Almost to the point where I would like go and want to like chop down this symbolic tree. But I don't. I don't do that. I look at the tree and I try to understand something. Because there's some sort of something coming in, like a document. If you're working on something, that you might reach a communication about something, about what you have been doing, feeling, or creating for yourself, that may help. And not help you relocate necessarily, and actually relocate. That could be a path. But the way I'm sensing it is, it's more of like an astral traveling in more of the spirit realms, where as this trees are, symbolic trees, the energies of the trees are growing and growing, but their aura is massive. And now it's like Jack and the Beanstalk, growing really, really tall above the clouds. And that's where you'll meet above the clouds. And then you can also travel down into the root system to like inner earth stuff. Right. So it's like the tangible reality, which is the here and now, is the trunk, the beef, right? And that's to be appreciated. Something's rising up, and I'm regenerating like my life force within that. Something might have been spilt. I might have been overgiving. Maybe I had been I had to go through a period of grief because I realized some people, places, and things were siphoning my energy, siphoning my nectar. And that's very uncomfortable to admit that, depending on what their position was in my life. And suddenly I'm recognizing that, going, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And but maybe I knew it, and I have to contend with that because I'm confused. I love them, but I need to, cut them off type thing. The Emperor stepping up, yes. When I come into relocation as well, with when I look at the bigger scope of things, like I'm seeing this balancing out of the good and the bad, if I may, right? The good force, the bad force, again, which is subjective depending on your point of view. So I can't even favor one or the other. I'm not in a place of judgment. I'm just in a place of observation in this very clear time. It's not a personalization for me. The Emperor, Page of Cups. See, it's like I'm just observing in this moment. My loyalties lie nowhere when I'm just simply observing. To help clarify any sort of confusion, the curse that is magic, or the magic that is a curse, the Seven of Wands. And I kind of want to feel like I do want to admit in this place there's like a revolt or a revolution in my own mind, and suddenly breaking free of things that maybe I've nurtured for a little longer than I should have. But I did that. I did that because it did serve. It did serve me. And maybe it served me to stay in a place or held me from moving on. But I slowly worked myself out. So when I did step out of it, the Lovers, the Magician, I could do so fully knowing my own power. Five of Wands from that, the combat between all the trees. So this also feels like that knowledge we've been talking about, like these high trees, right? Okay, so Eight of Pentacles is still on the bottom, so I'm going to take you. Thank you. We also have here the Lovers and the Magician when I was speaking about that. Yeah, so this comes all the way back to the beginning with me in this scroll, and maybe you're you can understand what I'm saying in an individual to interconnected way. I'm not sure, but like to the very deep roots, whether it's up above the sky to aliens, angels, to inner earth and ants and all the mantis beings, it doesn't matter. Choose the wordage that feels good. There's it feels like on the surface, say there's above and below, and on the surface there is combat, and it feels like there's a rising up of some sorts. And there is this pathway of sorrow and harmony. But I admit, in this very moment, I'm confused. This could be an internal battle. So whether it's myself in this moment or the Emperor feeling, where can I'm observing, because if I have to choose, I don't know that I actually need to, because I'm in a state of observation and I want to ensure whatever I add my energy to stays in line with my integrity, my focus, what is beautiful to me, what helps me reach a 10 of cups, whatever 10 of cups is to me, and not judging what 10 of cups is to anyone else. I have no idea if this reading has stayed on tact. I feel as though I've kind of lost track of time, and I'm going to get ready to close out here. I also don't know why I always feel the need to rush. I do know why, because I just feel like 20 minutes is, a long time for some, but for me, I can really ramble on and stay invested in the story a much longer time. So I want to kind of start to wean out of this with the Lovers, the Magician, and the 10 of Cups. Maybe what's going on the surface as a guardian, as somebody who can be the space between the lovers. Maybe this is a love relationship for yourself, but even the Magician, there's two beings conversing. There's that old knowledge coming up. I shouldn't say old knowledge. It's just an ancient energy that's coming up. And it is kind of painful because it's simultaneously a rebirthing. And then I'm compassionately with this energy, and it's like awakening up in a completely different time frame. And it's been programmed for back then. And now it's going to have to, in and of itself, be told, taught, or, mold itself to this timeline. But maybe do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it was a curse or magic or some sort of, conjuring when this thing was planted, and it will rise up, and maybe there's some sort of prophecy or lore. I don't know. And I feel like it's coming up, and I don't think it's going to go the way everyone thought it would. But I don't know if that's good, bad, or ugly. Like because again, I don't feel like I'm in it. I just see it. But I also see it's like the energy of this ancient energy that's rising back up to, like, say, this current energy, or vice versa. Because it's really indifferent. In this weird way, it's indifferent. But staying in the present moment. Both of these genies come out of the same cup, and they have to talk it out.
It's warm.
And they come to some sort of view that brings me, okay, now from the throat to the eye, to the infinite eye as well. Signs and observation came through, and I feel like this is really pertinent considering that observation has been a really big word that's come out of my mind, out of my mouth. I can't even speak today. It's hilarious. That's okay. Observation, expand your consciousness by observing the divine matrix of life. Signs, the universe has been gently nudging you forward by revealing to you signs and synchronicities. And we've been feeling chased. What was it? Synthesis has also been coming through. If somebody's looking for their passion, they're confused right now. Like, well, what am I passionate about? Creation is on the bottom with the Knight of Cups right here. And that question keeps popping up. So maybe there's something like, well, how do I find out what my passion is? I feel like when I see something beautiful, that tells me something. When I see something of what beauty means to me, oh, I really like this park, or I really like these curtains, or I really enjoy when I go to so and so's house, the way their environment is. Creation again. I feel like what I appreciate in others and what I see in others is a clue for myself, not to in a mimic way, but in an inspirational way. They're like little hints that are probably going to lead you back to something you might, just saying, you might be ignoring a little bit, thinking that maybe it's outgrown itself, or you outgrow it, or it's again from your different time frame. So even bringing it well back home, that this ancient energy that's stepping forward, you might think that you've well outgrown something, or it's so far away, and I feel like no, it's stepping forward. That's a really nice way. Like there could be some sort of conflict within that veil of the heart and the solar plexus, and as it's being met, it's not really a war. It's been causing sorrow because I haven't holistically been able to bridge them, because I haven't just been able to admit something. And then once I just admitted that I thought that part of me was long gone, or I thought that gift, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, oh, that it's all released. And then suddenly
Angel.
it's like seeing a bouquet of flowers bloom. Like it's pretty hard pressed to make an ugly bouquet of flowers. And I'm sure it can be done if that's someone's goal, but it's only going to be ugly to them.
Speak.
And maybe to a few that agree on certain rules. Do you know what I'm saying? Anywho, I've rambled on so long, and I apologize, but sorry, not sorry. It's been an incredible journey of creation, observation, and signs. And I hope that whatever it is that you're creating in your life and in your love, I hope that it ignites.
Come outside.
Okay, we're going to go outside. I'm going to go find my cats. Until next time.